Did you know that fear doesn't always have a valid reason? But why do we let it control our lives? Epictetus, a man who was once a slave, changed his life through a simple yet profound philosophy, and that secret is facing fear. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 simple ways from Epictetus's philosophy that will not only help you understand fear, but also apply these methods to overcome all fears in your life. And that's exactly why today we're going to explore 5 simple ways from Epictetus's Stoic philosophy to face and overcome fear. Welcome to Wisdom Daily. Part 1. Understanding fear. Fear, a product of the mind. Fear. Who among us has never experienced this feeling? It can stem from small things like the fear of speaking in front of a crowd, or from bigger things like the fear of failure in work or life. But one thing is certain: many of the fears we experience have no real basis. In Stoic philosophy, Epictetus teaches us that fear is simply a product of the mind, and if we analyze it thoroughly, we will realize that many of our fears are mere illusions. Think about a situation where you are worried about not completing an important project. You may fear that a poor outcome will lead to a low evaluation of you. But is that really as frightening as you think? Are you afraid of failure, or afraid of being seen by others as a failure? Worrying about things beyond our control. Epictetus pointed out that this fear comes from worrying about things we cannot control. Most of what we fear is not real, but rather what we imagine might happen. For example, you may worry that if you lose your job, you won't be able to find another one. But the truth is, that's not certain. You might find a new opportunity, or you might develop additional skills to find an even better job. It is the worry about the future, not the actual situation, that makes you feel afraid. Social fear. Unreal judgments. Imagine you are at a crossroads in life. You can continue with your current job or change and find a new direction. The fear you are experiencing is the worry about not being accepted by society if you choose to make a change. But does the judgment of others really matter? Epictetus advises that we should only worry about things we can control. What others think is not within our realm. Reality. Re-evaluating groundless fears. A practical example we can immediately see in life is the fear of being judged when changing careers. Many people in stable jobs have new dreams or passions, but they fear that if they decide to pursue that passion, others will think they are failures. They worry about being seen as unstable or disloyal in their work. But this is a groundless fear. In reality, pursuing a passion and developing your career could open up many new opportunities. You cannot live your life just to please others. Facing and analyzing fear objectively. This fear, according to Stoic philosophy, is not a bad thing. It helps us realize that the worries are not truly threats to us. Instead of running away from fear, we need to learn how to face it and analyze it objectively. When we do this, we'll see that most of our fears are irrational and have no real foundation. What's important is that we must be aware of this and not allow fear to control our lives. So, how can we face and overcome these fears? Epictetus's Stoic philosophy not only helps us understand fear, but also teaches us how to accept and face challenges calmly. We cannot control everything, but we can control how we react to them. Part 2. Embracing challenges and difficulties in life. Focus on what we can control. Epictetus taught that in life, we cannot control everything. There are things that will happen that we cannot predict or prevent. However, the important thing is that we can control how we respond to these events. Often, we worry and fear things because of external factors that we cannot change, like the opinions of others or inevitable situations. Think about a situation in life when you faced something undesirable, such as being fired. You cannot change the company's decision, but you can control how you respond to it. You can accept it as an opportunity to find a better job instead of sinking into sadness or disappointment. Epictetus advises us to focus on what we can control, our emotions, reactions, and the decisions we make in every situation. This not only helps reduce anxiety, but also makes us feel freer, as we are not letting external factors dictate our lives. Accepting challenges and difficulties in life. Life is not always smooth sailing. We will face many challenges, difficulties, and failures. But according to Epictetus, these challenges are valuable opportunities for us to learn and grow. If we constantly run away from difficulties, we will never be able to develop. Epictetus teaches that instead of avoiding difficulties, we need to accept them as a part of life. Accepting challenges means not being overwhelmed by feelings of pain or failure. In fact, every time we overcome a difficulty, no matter how painful or tough, we become stronger. For example, an athlete has to endure countless hours of grueling training and failures before achieving victory. It is through that process that they develop their physical strength, skills, and mental resilience. For Epictetus, embracing one's fate is an important part of accepting challenges. Whether there are failures or pain, we should view it as an indispensable part of the growth process. You cannot change what has happened, but you can change how you perceive and react to it. Every difficulty will make you stronger, and when you accept that life is a combination of both success and failure, you will no longer fear or worry when facing challenges. So, how can we face and overcome the challenges in life? Epictetus's Stoic philosophy gives us the key. It is the tranquility of the mind, accepting every challenge as an opportunity for growth, and most importantly, focusing on what we can control. Only then can we live a full and strong life, no matter what difficulties we may encounter. Part 3. Believing in the ability to overcome challenges. Believing in your own ability. One of the most important factors in overcoming challenges is believing in our own abilities. Epictetus always emphasized that no matter how difficult the circumstances, the most important thing is to trust in our ability to handle and overcome those difficulties. Think about a time when you had to face a major challenge in life, whether it was a difficult exam, an important project, or a significant decision at work. You might have felt anxious, uncertain, and wondered whether you could succeed. But what Epictetus teaches is this: when you believe in yourself, you will find a way to overcome it. Certainly, facing challenges is never easy. Sometimes, things won't go as planned, and the feeling of failure might make you doubt yourself. But remember, difficulty is a part of the growth process. There is no success without challenges and hardships. Trust that every step, no matter how small or big, brings you closer to your goal. When you believe in your ability to overcome, you will find the strength to get back up whenever you stumble, and this will make you stronger over time. Discovering potential through difficulty. Every difficulty, big or small, is an opportunity for us to discover and unlock our true potential. Think of a familiar story. The successful people in life have all faced countless difficulties and failures. They not only learned valuable lessons from these experiences, but it was through these challenges that they discovered their own strength and potential. Hardships, even though they may be painful, are the catalysts for growth. What's important is that failure is not the end, but a part of the learning and growing process. When you experience failure, it does not mean you have not succeeded. On the contrary, you are simply learning how to do it better next time. Every time you fall and get back up, you become stronger, more confident, and more aware of your capabilities. This is the foundation that helps you face the next challenge without fear or hesitation. If you have ever witnessed someone overcoming significant challenges in their life, for example, an entrepreneur starting over after multiple failures, or an athlete winning after a severe injury, you'll see that it was those very challenges that helped them grow. In fact, these individuals didn't just learn how to succeed in their field, but they also discovered many untapped potentials within themselves. When we face difficulties, that is when our true potential is awakened. So, how do we continue to harness our potential in the journey to overcome challenges? Epictetus's Stoic philosophy teaches us that the important thing is not to avoid difficulties, but how we face and use them to grow. We may not be able to change our circumstances, but we can change how we react to them. And in the next part, Epictetus will show us how to stop fearing the judgment of others, helping us to feel more free in this journey. Part 4. Not fearing the judgment of others. Living for yourself, not to please others. One of the key points Epictetus emphasizes in Stoic philosophy is not letting the judgment of others control our lives. Many times in life, we tend to live to please others, from choosing our careers to the way we dress, act, or even think. We fear being criticized, judged, or not being accepted by society. But in reality, living for others' approval only diminishes our self-worth. When we live solely to gain approval from others, we lose ourselves. This behavior not only makes us feel less free, but it also leads to failure in finding true happiness. Have you ever felt like doing something just to gain others' approval, even though you didn't actually enjoy it? You will always feel incomplete and unsatisfied. Epictetus teaches us that the judgment of others does not define our value. Only we can truly evaluate ourselves. Living according to our own principles and values. Stoic philosophy encourages us to live according to our own principles and values, not letting others' judgment or words influence us. Imagine spending your whole life trying to please those around you, while neglecting what truly matters to you. You might earn the approval of others, but would you be happy? Would you truly feel proud of what you've done? Epictetus says, our life should reflect what we believe, not what others expect from us. Living according to your own principles and values grants you true freedom. When you are not swayed by others' judgments, you will feel freer, stronger, and much more confident. You will no longer fear making decisions or pursuing your dreams, because you will know that what you are doing is truly what you want, and that is how you shape your own life. This does not mean you should disregard the opinions of others, but it means you need to differentiate between other people's contributions and impositions. You can listen to advice, but don't let judgments cause you to lose your direction. Remember, life is yours, and you are the only one who can decide how you want to live. So, how can we live according to our own principles and values, especially when facing life's challenges? Epictetus's Stoic philosophy not only helps us overcome the fear of others' judgment, but also helps us be more confident when facing any difficulty in life. In the next part, Epictetus will teach us how to face death, a topic that seems frightening but is actually the key to living a fuller life. Part 5. Not fearing death. Death. The inevitable. Death. A topic many of us avoid or don't want to think about. But according to Epictetus, death is an unavoidable part of life. The only thing we can control is how we face it. We cannot make death disappear, but we can change how we view and approach it. The fear of death does not come from death itself, but from the uncertainty of the future and the feeling of losing what we hold dear. But if we change our perspective, we will realize that death is not something to fear. Epictetus teaches that the fear of death only exists in our minds. We fear the things we cannot control, and that makes us lose our peace of mind. But if we view death as a natural part of life, we will no longer fear it. Death is not the end, but part of a sequence of events we cannot change. Accepting it is the way we gain true freedom in our soul. When we no longer worry about death, we can focus on living fully and more completely every day. Facing death to live more fully. Instead of avoiding death, Epictetus encourages us to face it directly. Think about it. View it as an inevitable part of life. When we face death, we no longer fear it. On the contrary, we will feel liberated because we understand that our time is limited and precious. Instead of letting the fear of death hold us back, we can use that awareness as motivation to live life to the fullest. Imagine each morning when you wake up, you ask yourself, "If today were my last day, how would I live?" Questions like these help you reassess your life and focus on what truly matters. When you realize time is finite, you will no longer waste it on trivial matters. You will become stronger in facing challenges and will cherish every moment. This doesn't mean we live in constant worry about death. On the contrary, when we accept death as part of life, we feel freer. This helps reduce anxiety about unimportant things and allows us to live more fully each day. So, how can we use the awareness of death to live a more meaningful life? Epictetus's Stoic philosophy allows us to face death without fear, and in doing so, find peace in our souls. When we can live without being controlled by the fear of death, we will find that life becomes richer. In the next part, Epictetus will help us understand how to apply Stoic philosophy to every aspect of our lives in order to achieve true peace. Today, we've explored together 5 simple ways from Epictetus's Stoic philosophy to overcome fear in life. We've learned how to analyze fear and realize that much of what we worry about has no real basis. We also recognize that life is full of challenges, and instead of avoiding them, these challenges help us grow and become stronger. The most important thing, according to Epictetus, is to trust in our own ability and not let the judgment of others or the fear of death prevent us from living a full life. These lessons are not just abstract theories. They are practical principles that can help you overcome fear and live more freely and powerfully each day. When you truly understand and apply Stoic philosophy, you will feel free in your mind and confident in facing all challenges. This life is not always easy, but fear is not something that should control us. When you learn to face it, you will find yourself much stronger. Remember that only when we believe in our abilities, face challenges, and live by our own principles, can we truly live a free life. If you find these lessons helpful and feel inspired, don't forget to hit subscribe to the Wisdom Daily channel to continue exploring philosophies that help you live more fully. What do you think about embracing challenges in life? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to share this video with those who might benefit from these valuable insights. Thank you for watching, and we hope you'll continue to join Wisdom Daily to uncover more meaningful life tips in each upcoming video.